Since the war in Iraq started in 2003, millions of Iraqis have fled their war-torn homeland. 2 million flooded across borders to neighbouring countries, and while many stayed there, tens of thousands paid people smugglers to take them to faraway lands. Facing persecution in Iraq, about 40,000 Christian Iraqis have made Sweden their home. But Iraqis seeking asylum in Sweden are now being sent back to Iraq, and Sweden's reputation as a humane society is being questioned. Stephanie Kennedy reports from Sweden.
In the capital, Stockholm, the Royal Guards play a largely ceremonial role. Yet Sweden boasts a rich military history dating back to the Viking Age. Swedish Vikings travelled east in search of trade and riches, as far as Baghdad, the centre of the Islamic Empire. Now, in a reversal of fortune, Iraqis are making the long journey west to Sweden. At this church service in Södertälje outside Stockholm, Christian Iraqis are free to practice their faith in peace. In Iraq, they endured the threat of violence and religious persecution. They've all come to Sweden seeking a new life.
We have heard about Sweden when we were in Iraq. They respect human beings. People mean something important here in Sweden.
Nidal and her husband Farouk Salaka, along with their children, are now Swedish residents. Desperate to escape Iraq, the Bashir family paid thousands of dollars to people smugglers. Using a false passport, teenage son Ehab arrived in Sweden via Jordan, the Czech Republic and Germany. When Ehab was granted refugee status, his family was entitled to join him. It was the removal of Saddam Hussein that made life impossible for the Bashir family.
We were living. We were dead. We were the living dead. We don't know at what moment we were subjected to an explosion, a bomb or a booby-trapped car.
As Christians, they say their lives became intolerable.
If we stayed in Iraq, we undoubtedly would have been slaughtered or had our children kidnapped and been subject to ransoms.
For asylum seekers, Sweden provides generous financial support, $30,000 to help each refugee settle in the country, and more than 500 hours of free Swedish lessons. Since the start of the war in Iraq in 2003, over 6,000 Iraqi refugees have moved to Södertälje. Best known in Sweden as the birthplace of tennis legend Bjorn Borg, it's now dubbed Little Baghdad. But the influx is now creating tension in the community.
It's a problem to find job opportunities for all of them. And it's impossible to find accommodation for all these people coming.
Södertälje now wants to slam the door shut on any further refugees. The influx of Iraqis has brought with it a range of social problems. Housing, jobs and schools are all in short supply, and the city says it's simply reached its limit. Of even more concern, some homegrown Swedes are now beginning to resent the new arrivals.
We've got a situation where large areas become like Iraq in Sweden, where you speak Iraqi language with Iraqi shops, where they don't live at all in a Swedish-type society. We're going to get a balkanisation, where the country sooner or later is torn apart.
Members of the far-right political party, the National Democrats, Mark Abramson and his partner Elin Lovgren have been elected to the Södertälje municipality.
They want that type of system that you have in South Africa for 20 years ago. They want a society only for the ethnic Swedes.
These Iraqis might have arrived too late. They're on tenterhooks awaiting the outcome of their application for refugee status.
The Mehdi army threatened me because I was working in a liquor store. I was kidnapped with the owner of the shop. They blindfolded and handcuffed us.
I left Iraq after my mother was murdered in 2005 and the persecution we suffered.
They said we would kill you, we will kidnap your children, we will bomb your car.
Last year, the number of Iraqis granted residency dropped dramatically after the Swedish Migration Court ruled that Iraq is no longer a war zone.
They have to have valid reasons. And if the security situation is improving in Iraq, well, then that is a reason for a higher degree of rejections.
At the end of the day, as the sun sinks low in the Sototelia sky, so too the hopes of this trio. Nashiat Paul's initial application has already been rejected. Iman Mati, anxious to be reunited with her family, and Riyad Bajit are both desperate to see out their days in the relative peace and tranquility of Sweden. Stephanie Kennedy, Lateline.